G'day guys! Now today we're doing an animal profile. We're talking all things David, the Woma python. G'day guys! We're the wildlife twins. Alright, so before we get into the video and talk all things David, the Woma python, we want to mention our big change. Yes. Okay. Just a little bit of a change. Now, we now call ourselves the wildlife twins. So fauna fetchers to the wildlife twins. You see it, you name it. Yes. So if you want to see the full video update, go over to our Facebook page, which is now called the Wildlife Twins, and check out the video. And make sure you follow our new Instagram page, the Wildlife Twins _. So that's where you'll see all our journey and updates, self-growth journey, and all that jazz. But otherwise, let's talk about David. Let's get into it. So David, believe it or not, is actually 9 years old, and we got him back in 2016. But see, there's a bit of a story behind David and I, a bit of an untold history. See, I actually went to university with his previous owner, and while we're at uni, we started up a wildlife club, and for the club we were taking photos, and I was actually in a photo with David himself when, you know, back all those years ago. And I would have never thought today, now, I would own him and have him in my display. Yep, yeah, definitely. Oh my gosh, that story was going on forever. It would have been on for hours if I didn't save it there, guys. So yes, now David lives with us, and it's awesome that he does, because he helps us educate different people, kids, and anybody on these beautiful animals, and also how much of an impact each individual species has on the environment and the ecosystem they live in. And let me tell you, he is absolutely brilliant at his job. Yeah, he is really good. He's super placid, and he has an ability to tolerate all different sorts of environments and handling. And that's what makes him so good at being a snake that does shows and represents his species in those shows too. He actually more resembles a door snake than I have a door snake, a real snake. I have a door snake. Yeah, so yes, he is really good at his job. Let me tell you why. Because when it comes to educating young kids, or people that are maybe really scared of snakes or not too sure of them, but going back to the young kids thing, you see, kids are really good. They're usually really nice. They like to touch them really nicely, but then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, their eyes go black. Fire comes up around them, alright? And from that nice gentle pat, they squeeze really tightly. So Dave, he just tolerates that. He has no problem. Usually we try to avoid that from happening, but sometimes it is unavoidable, and it has happened before, and David just tolerates it like a champ. Now, otherwise, David is, so how can we measure his plasticity? That's a word, plasticity, okay? I can actually show you David's teeth, okay? Come a bit closer. So he allows me, he's so chilled out, he actually allows me to show people his teeth. And that's a really cool example of how placid he is. And in the shows, it really shows off how his cool temperament. So we talked about Dave's personality and his awesome attributes as an individual, but we must talk about his species, because as a whole, they are amazing. Yeah, their species and the role they play in the ecosystem is amazing. So let's shoot over to the species. Yeah. So Woma pythons live more in the desert region of Australia. You definitely wouldn't see them on this type of grass. Or Woma pythons, otherwise known as the Ramsay python. Yeah, after Dr. Ramsay. Okay, so this is his distribution map, if you can see that. And if not, I'll put it on the screen anyway. And so yeah, he lives in more of a desert, arid region of Australia. Now these guys are also a terrestrial python, which means they like to live on the ground. They're not skilled climbers. No, not slappers, I'd say. Yes, fallers. Yeah. All right, kamikaze. Right, and being a python, we'd also assume that they're non-venomous. But Kind of not true.
What do you mean?
Well, a few years ago, a study came out finding that pythons actually have a small venom potential in their saliva.
Oh, wow.
And a lot of people don't actually know this. Now, this venom, you know, if you were to get bitten by David or any other Woma python, probably really wouldn't affect you. You'd have to get bitten 1,000 times.
We're not going to do that.
No. It's just simply to help break down their food as they do swallow it whole.
Yeah, right.
Just
So
like our
stomach
saliva.
acid.
Yep, that's right.
Well, there you go.
So there's a fun fact for you.
Cool.
So most people would know that pythons constrict their prey by wrapping themselves tightly around the animal that they're trying to eat or kill. Okay, to constrict the blood flow or their airways. But Woma pythons, well, they sort of do this, but they kind of do something different too. And this is all due to what they eat, which is super interesting. You're a pest, you know that? Twin, they said. Get a twin. It'd be fun, they said. Now, Woma pythons love to eat venomous snakes and reptiles. Yep, that's right. And as you can imagine, eating a really long animal would be pretty hard to wrap yourself around and around and around. So, instead of constricting in that manner, what they'd usually use is the environment around them. So that may be a burrow or a log, or maybe some roots here, anything that they have around, and they'll squish their prey in that same way that they constrict. Now here's the not so cool thing about our Woma python, and that's the fact that they are actually endangered, which means in some areas their population is very low. Now when you think about this and their role in the ecosystem, if Woma pythons are low in a certain area, their prey, well, the number of their prey in that area will actually go up. Okay, so when Woma pythons are endangered, venomous snakes are booming in numbers. So, and this is a perfect example of how species play a really critical role in the ecosystem. Yep, and that doesn't just stop there at snakes. Every single species in the world has a role to play. Yeah, but there are a few things that we can do to help our Woma pythons and maybe other snakes in the same predicament. So the first thing you can do for all our snake species is not to assume a snake species by its color and pattern. See, snakes, well, they don't know that they're a red-bellied black snake or that a green tree snake or that they're a tiger snake. And they can highly vary in color and pattern. Okay, so for example, with Woma pythons, they have bands. So when they're out in the wild and people see them, they assume they're a tiger snake. And that's when people, well, they think about harming that snake to protect their family or protect themselves. When realistically, this snake is actually eating other venomous snakes in that area, and is a great snake to have in the area too. Now, another thing that is affecting the Woma pythons, but actually pretty much any other species in the world, is habitat loss. And this is really hard. But one way that you can help any native species in your area is by encouraging them into your property or into your yard. Maybe plant a couple of native trees, put some water bowls out and about, and maybe encourage some of your friends to do it as well. Because who loves, wrong end, a bit of nature? Oh, and might I add, talking about Woma pythons and snakes in general is a really good thing too. So teaching them, like I just said before, don't identify them by their color or pattern. Yeah, just having a simple chat is a really good thing to help all our wildlife being aware of it. Yeah, that's it. So there you have it, crew. A bit of a video about our Woma python, David, and also the species. Personally, I really like Woma pythons. They're awesome. One of my favorites. Super placid, super calm, and this guy is just an absolute fave. What a legend. Now, hopefully you get to see him maybe in real life. In real life, like physically being able to touch him. Absolutely. That would be awesome. Now, otherwise, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video as a whole. And if you have any questions, please comment down below. Or maybe you have questions for David. Well, not for him, but about him. I'm sure he'd try and answer, but he wouldn't be very good. Or maybe have a question about the Woma python species. Yeah, and I think David, he's telling me he wants you to subscribe and like to to the video.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that
Yeah.
what you, I think
Yeah.
he did say
I'm
that.
pretty sure.
Thanks,
I'm pretty
thanks
sure.
for the plug, David.
Yeah.
And also don't forget to go follow us on our new Instagram account. So the Wildlife Twins _. I'll link it in the description below anyway. We just want to make sure that you guys can keep up to date with all our adventures. Oh, inconsiderate. Thank you. Otherwise, guys, we're the Wildlife Twins, and we'll catch you next time.